Hello, everybody. When we left off with Ghost, he is very excited that it's Friday. He gets a night off from practicing, and he also is going out to dinner with the coach. The coach is taking the newbies to Chinese food, and he has just passed Brandon Simmons in the hallway. Brandon's back after suspension. It's the first time I've seen him since a fight, and he said that he told the kids to chill when they laughed at him. I can't believe you're giving this clown a pass, Dre said. It was almost like he had a year's worth of laughs stored up, waiting to unload them on Brandon. Everybody did, but I just couldn't let it happen. Funny thing was, when I saw Shamika in Mr. Hollow's class, she apologized to me about everything that went on in class the day before. And that, my friends, is what they call karma. Plus, like I said, she was a cool girl anyway. At lunch, she even sat with me, Red, and Dre, and told us every story about times she cut things just because she was feeling a little guilty. There was one time I cut my hair. Man, that was crazy. Just straight up started hacking it off like a maniac just because it was hot and my hair was on my neck. She said first, just before taking a bite of her burger. Then, in the midst of chewing, she continued. And another time, I cut a pair of jeans into shorts while I still had them on. That was not smart. Still got the scars on my legs. Then she erupted into laughter, just like she did in class. And this time, she was the butt of her own joke. And even though me, Dre, and Red didn't really find it that funny, we couldn't help but laugh too, because that's what her laugh makes you do. Before I knew it, school was over, and I went on my usual walk home. I mean, Coach wasn't coming until later, so I figured there was no rush. So I went to Mr. Charles's store. Let me guess. Sunflower seeds, Mr. Charles said. He turned the little TV down as usual. Let me guess. $1, I said, slapping my money on the counter. I grabbed the bag. You okay, son? Mr. Charles asked. Yeah, why? Well, all that stuff that happened yesterday with you being teased, and then you came here and you got. He stopped short. I was starting to feel a little annoyed that he even brought it up, because I was definitely trying to forget about it all, especially the last part, the stockroom part. I mean, talk about weird. Not that I hadn't thought about it. I mean, how could I not? But every time my father's face or the sound of his angry voice or the sound of that gun cocking popped into my mind, I would just shake it out of my head and think about my bullets, my silver bullets. But you just can't be mad at an old James Brown-faced man like Mr. Charles. You just can't. Yeah, man, I assured him. I'm cool. I'm actually in a good mood. Oh, yeah? He asked. I used my teeth to rip open the corner of the bag. Yep, got a dinner thing I'm going to tonight for my track team, I said, all proud. Track team? Mr. Charles asked, now turning the TV down even more. You're on a track team, Castle? Yes, sir. I started to say, but it's hard to try to talk and get seeds and the shells out at the same time. So I waited till I got it done and then continued. Remember, I told you yesterday. You did? Mr. Charles looked puzzled. The old brain's getting wonky these days. Sorry, son. It's cool. I tapped the bag in my palm to get a few more seeds out. So yeah, I'm on a team called the Defenders. It's one of the best teams in the city. I didn't know you were an athlete. Mr. Charles seemed impressed. Well, I am a pretty good one, too, I bragged, tossing the seeds in my mouth and casually slapping my hand against my thigh to brush the salt off. A shock of soreness shot down to my knee, a painful reminder that I was definitely an athlete. Ugh. Mr. Charles twisted the top off of cranberry juice and took a sip. I believe you. I told you, kid, you're one of the world's greatest. Got that right, I said, now spitting shells into my hand. One of the world's greatest. After I left the store, I headed to stop two, the bus stop. I took a seat next to an older woman. She was doing a crossword puzzle and humming a song I didn't recognize. She might have been making it up. It didn't sound bad, though. Across the street at the gym, we were all these people working out. The Walking Dead. Ha! That's what they look like anyway. I hung out there for a little while before moving on. When I got to Martin Luther King Park, I looked down at the track and there was nobody there except for a man jogging with his dog, but nobody else, no real runners. After that, there was really no place to go but home, and I wasn't ready to go there yet. So I went to the basketball court. At the court, as usual, all the older guys were there running fives for cash. I knew some of them just because they were always there playing. Like Pop, who was probably in his 20s or something like that. I don't even think he was anybody's dad, but everybody called him Pop anyway. He was a short dude with crazy handles and a mean jumper. He was one of those guys who could do all the tricks and stuff, shake you right out of your socks like it was nothing. And Sicko was there too, but luckily for me, he didn't have his crazy dog with him. Sicko wasn't really that good at basketball, but he was super rough. He probably should have been a football player or a wrestler. Big James was there too. He was like the best player ever to me. He looked like he really played pro ball, 6 feet something, all muscle. People always said Big James played college ball but never went pro. I never knew what he did for a living. All I knew was that he was always on the court, domineering the game, taking everybody's money. So I guess basketball was what he did for a living anyway. Besides the hoopers, there was always a bunch of other people at the court just hanging out. Girls. Some were the girlfriends of the guys playing, and others wanted to be the girlfriends of the guys playing. And junkies. They'd just be zombied out, roaming around the outside of the court. They knew better than to mess up the game. They'd just walk along the out-of-bounds line like it was a tightrope, waiting for Goose. Goose was the dope man, who also happened to be a pretty good ball player. Super flashy, but an all-around nice guy. Well, except for selling drugs. The court was where he served, in more ways than one. I chilled there for a while, watching Sicko push everyone around until what always happens happened. A fight. As usual. Stupid Sicko pushed the wrong guy, a guy I didn't know, and that guy pushed Sicko back. Then Pop got into it, then Big James, then Big James's girl, and then some other girl, and then a junkie started howling like a wolf, and then I was out. By the time I made it home, I only had a little bit of time to kill before Coach picked me up. Just enough to wash up, or as my mom says, splash some water on my hot spots, throw on some clean clothes, and give myself 2 spritzes of perfume. It was Ma's, and it smelled like flowers, but hey, so what? When Coach showed up, he hit the horn a few times, and when I didn't come right out, he hit it a few more times. I'm coming, I said, locking the door. Coach had his window down and was talking to Mr. Jefferson, the neighborhood sweeper. At least that's what we called him. He basically swept up the street every single day, but didn't seem to ever get it clean. There was always glass or paper or, I don't know, a dirty couch. What's up, y'all? I said to Patty, who sat up front, and Lou, who was in the back with me. I wondered where Coach put all the junk that was usually in his cab. Probably in the trunk, which was a place I never, ever wanted to see. What's up, man? Lou said. I've been around here before, Patty said, skipping the hell out. I can't remember when, but I know I've been around here. Me too, Lou said. Not really these parts, but my pop plays ball sometimes at the court down the street. Oh, yeah? I play at the court, I lied. Man, I was getting smooth with the lies. Just came from over there. Coach shook Mr. Jefferson's hand, then turned around to me. Took you long enough, he tossed over his shoulder. Then he sniffed and sniffed and sniffed. Is that you smelling like flowers? Coach asked Patty. Nope, that's Pretty Boy back there, she said. Who, Lou? Coach adjusted his mirror. No, the other one, Patty said, talking about me. I couldn't even believe she called me Pretty Boy. I squeezed my cheeks to crush my smile. And before Coach or Lou could say something slick, Patty added, I like it. It smells good. One more stop before the Chinese food. We left Glass Manor and went to the other side of town, like the other side, where the houses have yards in the front and the back, where there are 2 or 3 floors and each kid has their own room. And even if there's like 5 kids, each one gets their own 4 walls. And everybody has a car or 2, and there are driveways to park those cars in. Oh, and there are basketball courts in the driveways, like the kind you move around and make it low to adjust to dump on. No wig shops, no fish markets, no Mr. Charles, which of course had to suck. And we pulled in front of Sonny's house. And we're going to stop there.